Hi, I'm John from Chatamize, and in this video I will show you how you can measure conversions in SilFer Bots. So currently SilFer Bots doesn't provide any native conversion tracking, but by using some simple actions and a Google Sheet, we can track your conversions inside your chatbot. And to make even things better, we can also convert that Google Sheet to an automatic dashboard inside Google Data Studio. So before we're going to deep dive in how we are going to do all these things, I must tell you that everything I tell in this tutorial will be shared inside a template. So you don't have to follow my steps in SilFer Bots. I already created a template. It's in the description and you can just use that template instead of doing all these steps yourself. So what we're going to do is first send a simple message. So we can click on it, add the text, and say click on this button for a conversion. So if a user clicks on this button, a certain conversion is triggered. So we will name this button just conversion 1, and then we're going to add an action, and with that action we're going to save one tag and 2 custom fields. So why are we going to do this? The tag is really for your own reference. So for example, if you want to filter on your audience based on whether they had a certain conversion or not, you can use your tag to filter on that audience. The second thing we're going to do is to set the current flow to a custom field. So it could be the case that a conversion is triggered from multiple flows, and we want to measure which flow is working the best in triggering that conversion. So we need to store that as well. And the last thing we need to do is we need to store the name of the conversion so we can send it over to the Google Sheet. So if you click on this plus sign, we can just add an action and connect the button to that action. So if someone clicks on the button, the action is triggered, and then we can add an action with the tag, which will be something like conversion, and then the name of the conversion. I already created one. Then the next thing we can do is set a custom field. So we can create a new custom field, or you can make one yourself. I already created one for myself, which is named current flow, and we'll set the text to conversion flow for this case, but you can set it to whatever you want. And the last thing we need to do is set the custom field. Also, you can create a new one, but I already created one which is named conversion, and it's just the name of the conversion, so in this case it's conversion 1. Now all the information about the conversion is stored inside tags and custom fields. So the next thing we need to do is create an integration between SilFer Bots and Google Sheets to send that data to a Google Sheet. So if we go back to the SilFer Bots dashboard and then go to settings, then we can choose for integrations and scroll down until you see Google Sheets. You can click on connect, select the account you want to use, allow SilFer Bots to have access to that account, and then we need to go back to our flow. So inside our flow we need to add another action, which will be the action for the Google Sheet. So if you click on the plus sign, another action, connect the previous action with the next one, add the action Google Sheets, and here you can set it to send data, select your spreadsheet, which will be conversion SilFer Bots, select the worksheet you want to use, and then we can send over the data. So if we look inside this Google Sheet, we have the date, which is just the current date, the ID of the user, and the first name and the last name. This is really for your own reference. We're not going to use this in the dashboard. And we store the flow and the conversion, the name of the conversion, so we can track which conversions had happened, and the name of the flow, so we can track which flows are effective and which aren't. So if we go back to SilFer Bots, we will set last interaction to the date, the user ID to the ID, the first name to the first name, last name to the last name, the current flow to the flow, and the conversion to the conversion column. So we can hit save, and then we will add a simple message with a confirmation, so we know that SilFer Bots has successfully sent the data to Google Sheets. So if we can click on preview, then click on this button for a conversion, conversion 1, and then you see confirmation. So it's working. If we dive into our Google Sheet, you will see the date, the ID, first name, last name, the conversion flow, and conversion 1. So we're now tracking conversions inside SilFer Bots and sending that data to a Google Sheet. So the next thing we need to do is send the data from Google Sheets to Google Data Studio. And if you're not familiar with Google Data Studio, it's a tool from Google that you can use to automatically create dashboards that integrate multiple sources. For example, you can integrate Google Sheets, but also Google Analytics or your YouTube data. Really any kind of data source you can add to Google Data Studio. And I already created a really simple dashboard for you. This will also be added inside the description. You don't need to make this yourself. So it's a really simple dashboard with the conversions, the amount of conversions, and the conversion name, the flow, and how many times that occurred. So for example, it could also be the case that if we add another conversion and it is triggered by a different flow, it will add another row to this table, and the record count will also be updated automatically. So you can just make a copy of this report, and then you can select your data source. So with me, I already selected another data source, but you need to click on Create New Data Source, select the Google Sheet, and then you can select the spreadsheet you need to use and select the worksheet. You can click on Connect, and he automatically sees all the variables and add a record count, which is just the amounts of rows that are inside your Google Sheet. So if you've done this, you can just click on Copy Report, and you will automatically see that there's currently no data. But if you click on View, it's because you automatically see that the date is set to yesterday. So if we set it to today, which is the 21st of November, you will see a record count, which will be 1. You will see that the conversion name, we will see the conversion flow, and we'll set the record count. And that's how you measure conversions in SilFer Bots. You just create a simple flow, send the data from SilFer Bots to a Google Sheet, and create a dashboard inside Google Data Studio based on that Google Sheet. If you want more videos on how you can use chatbots in your marketing, please subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't done this yet, also click the like button below.